The Nice Guy Girl Trap. How to Spot Covert Narcissism Before It Destroys You. Chapter 1. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone who seemed perfect on the surface? They were kind, attentive, always putting your needs first.
They never raised their voice, never made demands, never seemed selfish. And yet, something felt off. You walked on eggshells. You felt guilty for having your own needs. You found yourself constantly apologizing for things you didn't do wrong. What if I told you that the kindest person you've ever met might be the most dangerous? That their niceness wasn't generosity, it was a trap. Today, we're exposing the covert narcissist, hiding behind the mask of the perfect partner. And by the end of this video, you'll never fall for it again.
Here's what we're covering. First, we'll define what covert narcissism actually is, and how it differs from the loud, obvious type you see in movies. Then, we'll break down the 7 deadly signs that someone is a covert narcissist, not a genuinely nice person.
We'll explore the psychological weapons they use: guilt-tripping, victimhood, and emotional manipulation disguised as care.
Finally, I'll give you the exact framework to spot these people early and the courage to walk away before they destroy you. Research from the Journal of Personality Disorders shows that covert narcissists make up approximately 50–75% of all narcissistic presentations in clinical settings.
Yet they're rarely diagnosed because they don't fit the stereotype. A 2021 study found that victims of covert narcissistic abuse take an average of 3.7 years to recognize what's happening to them.
By then, the damage is often severe. Anxiety, depression, PTSD, and a complete erosion of self-trust. Chapter 2. Story. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah met James at a coffee shop. He was shy, humble, almost self-effacing. He remembered everything she said. He brought her soup when she was sick. He never complained, never demanded, never made it about himself. Sarah thought she'd found her soulmate. 2 years later, Sarah was a shell of herself. James never yelled, he never hit her, but he made her feel like every disagreement was her fault. When she tried to discuss problems, he'd say, "I guess I'm just not good enough for you." When she wanted to spend time with friends, he'd look hurt and say, "It's fine. I'll just be here alone." When she succeeded at something, he'd subtly diminish it. "That's great, but are you sure you can handle that kind of pressure?" Sarah didn't leave because James was cruel.
She left because she was disappearing. And that's the genius of the covert narcissist. They don't break you with force. They break you with kindness.
Lesson. So what exactly is covert narcissism? Unlike overt narcissists who are loud, arrogant, and obviously self-centered, covert narcissists are introverted, insecure, and hypersensitive. They share the same core traits: lack of empathy, sense of entitlement, need for admiration.
But they express it differently. Instead of demanding praise, they fish for it through self-deprecation. Instead of bragging, they play the victim. Instead of dominating conversations, they make you feel guilty for having one.
Romani, a clinical psychologist specializing in narcissistic abuse, puts it perfectly. The covert narcissist weaponizes their own suffering.
They make you responsible for their emotional state, and then punish you when you inevitably fail to fix them. Here is a chilling statistic. A study in the Journal of Social and Clinical Psychology found that partners of covert narcissists showed higher levels of psychological distress than partners of overt narcissists.
Why? Because the abuse is harder to identify. You can't point to a specific incident. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Chapter 3. Lesson. Now let's break down the 7 signs. Sign 1. Excessive humility that feels performative. They put themselves down constantly, but not in a healthy, self-aware way. They say things like, "I'm such an idiot. I don't know why you're with me." This isn't vulnerability, it's a trap. They're fishing for reassurance. And when you give it, they've trained you to validate them. Over time, you become their emotional caretaker, and your own needs disappear. Story. Meet Marcus. Marcus would start every conversation with his failures. "I messed up at work again. I'm terrible at this. You deserve someone better." His girlfriend, Lisa, spent hours reassuring him. She became exhausted. And when she finally said, "I need support too," Marcus looked wounded. "I thought you understood me. I guess I was wrong." Lisa apologized. The cycle continued. Lesson, sign 2. Passive-aggressive punishment. Covert narcissists don't yell. They give you the silent treatment. They forget important dates. They make plans and cancel last minute, then act hurt when you're upset. It's punishment disguised as innocence. They want you to suffer, but they want to maintain their image as the reasonable one. As psychologist Carol McBride writes, the covert narcissist's greatest skill is making you feel crazy for reacting to their abuse. They create the wound, then hand you the bandage and expect gratitude. Lesson. Sign 3. Victimhood as identity. Everything that happens to them is someone else's fault. Their boss doesn't appreciate them. Their friends don't understand them. Their ex was terrible.
They're always the hero of a tragedy. And if you question their version of events, you're not on their side. Research shows that covert narcissists score significantly higher on measures of victim mentality than any other personality type.
They don't just feel like victims occasionally, it's their primary identity. And they need you to validate that identity constantly. Chapter 4. Lesson. Sign 4. Emotional vampirism disguised as intimacy. They share deep, painful stories early in the relationship. It feels like connection.
It's actually grooming. They're creating a debt. I trusted you with my trauma. Now you owe me your loyalty. And when you try to set boundaries, they weaponize that vulnerability. I can't believe you're abandoning me after everything I shared. Story. Emma met David online. Within 2 weeks, he'd told her about his abusive childhood, his failed marriage, his struggles with depression. Emma felt special. She was his safe person.
3 months in, when Emma wanted to slow things down, David said, "I finally found someone who understands my pain, and now you're leaving me too?" Emma stayed. For 2 more years. Lesson. Sign 5. Conditional kindness. Their generosity comes with invisible strings.
They do things for you, but you're expected to reciprocate in specific ways. If you don't, they're wounded. After everything I've done for you? Sound familiar? That's not love.
That's transactional manipulation. Therapist and author Lindsay Gibson explains, healthy giving is unconditional. Narcissistic giving is an investment. They expect a return, and they keep track of the balance. Lesson. Sign 6. Inability to celebrate your success.
When you achieve something, they don't share your joy. They might say congratulations, but there's a subtle dismissal. That's great, but... Or they change the subject. Or they one-up you with their own story.
Your success threatens them because it shifts attention away from them. A 2019 study in personality and individual differences found that narcissists, both overt and covert, showed measurable decreases in positive affect when their partners succeeded.
Their brains literally couldn't process someone else's win without feeling it as their loss. Sign 7. The guilt trip arsenal. This is their master weapon. Every boundary you set becomes evidence of your selfishness. Every need you express becomes a demand.
Every mistake you make becomes proof that you don't care. They don't argue with logic. They argue with guilt. And guilt is impossible to win against because it targets your morality, not your reasoning. Rachel wanted to visit her family for the holidays.
Her partner, Tom, said, "Of course, go. I'll just spend Christmas alone like I always do." "It's fine." Rachel canceled her trip. Tom said, "I knew you'd choose them over me." Rachel couldn't win. If she went, she was abandoning him. If she stayed, she was sacrificing for him.
Either way, he was the victim and she was the villain.
So, how do you protect yourself? Here's the framework. First, trust your body, not their words. Your nervous system knows before your brain does. If you feel anxious, drained, or confused around someone, pay attention. That's data. Second, watch for patterns, not incidents. Anyone can have a bad day. Covert narcissists have a bad lifetime. Look for consistent themes. Do you always end up apologizing? Do you feel like you're walking on eggshells? Is your sense of self eroding? As author and trauma expert Beat Walker says, your feelings are not the problem.
They are the solution. They're your internal alarm system telling you something is wrong. Chapter 6. Third, test their empathy. Share a struggle and see how they respond. Do they listen? Do they validate? Or do they turn it back to themselves? A healthy person holds space for your pain.
A narcissist competes with it. Fourth, set a small boundary and observe the reaction. Say no to something minor. A healthy person respects it. A narcissist punishes it. Passively, subtly, but unmistakably. Here's the most important statistic. Research on recovery from narcissistic abuse shows that victims who leave within the first year recover significantly faster than those who stay longer. The damage is cumulative. Every month you stay, the recovery gets harder. I want you to meet Anna. Anna recognized the signs after 8 months. She left. It was painful, but she recovered within a year. Then there's Michael. Michael recognized the signs after 3 years. He left.
His recovery is ongoing. 5 years later. The difference wasn't the narcissist, it was the timing.
Listen, here's the hard truth. You cannot fix a covert narcissist. They don't see themselves as broken. They see themselves as wounded by the world. Therapy doesn't work unless they admit they have a problem, and they won't. Your love won't heal them. Your patience won't change them.
Your sacrifice won't save them. The most compassionate thing you can do for a narcissist is to stop enabling their delusion. And the most compassionate thing you can do for yourself is to walk away. Chapter 7. I know this is painful to hear. Maybe you're watching this and realizing you're in this relationship right now. Maybe you're feeling guilty for even considering leaving. That guilt? That's the trap. That's exactly what they've trained you to feel. Lesson. Here's what you need to remember. Leaving a covert narcissist isn't cruel. It's self-preservation. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's sanity. Choosing yourself isn't abandonment.
It's survival. If this video resonated with you, I want you to do 3 things. First, share this with someone who needs to hear it. Covert narcissism thrives in silence. Breaking that silence saves lives.
Second, subscribe to this channel. We're building a community of people who refuse to be manipulated. And third, leave a comment below. What's one sign you recognize now that you didn't see before?
Your story might be the wake-up call someone else needs. You deserve relationships where kindness isn't currency, where love isn't leverage, where you can exist without earning your right to take up space. The covert narcissist will tell you that's too much to ask.
They're wrong. As poet Warsan Shire wrote, "You can't make homes out of human beings. Someone should have already told you that. Stop trying to make a home out of someone who sees you as furniture. You are not responsible for fixing broken people."
You are responsible for protecting your own wholeness. And that starts with recognizing the trap and having the courage to walk away. The nice guy or girl you've been waiting for? They're not hiding behind guilt trips and victimhood. They're not keeping score.
They're not making you earn their love. They're out there. But you'll never find them if you're still trapped with someone who's pretending. Choose yourself today. Not tomorrow. Not when it's convenient. Today.
Because the person you're meant to become can't grow in soil that's been poisoned. And you deserve to bloom.